and welcome to this edition of Bison Talks IMPACT, where I talk all about impact, and I'm honoured today to be joined by none other than one member of OVE, Dave Crist.
What's going on? Thank you for having me.
No worries. I'm really excited. And to be fair, I know that we've been trying to set this one up for several months, or I've been trying to set this one up for several months, and I'm pleased that we've managed to make this work. And I'm really excited, really, especially with everything that's been going down lately. I know that you've had a few issues in your family, and I know that obviously everything that's been going down with the COVID-19 situation, the lockdown, everything else. It's not a great time at the moment. So thank you ever so much for being my guest today on Bison Talks Impact. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I definitely enjoy you having me, and I definitely appreciate you having me. I'm definitely looking forward to what you got for me.
Good man. I'm excited. So first off, I'd like to obviously make sure that you're staying safe and keep yourself occupied during this time. So I know we were briefly off air, we're talking about something there, but what have you been doing to keep yourself, fit, healthy, and busy during this time?
I have a full gym in my garage. I'm not really much for going to the gym, so I figure about 2 years ago, I moved my basement gym to my garage. About 4 years ago now, 3 or 4, yeah, actually more 4 years ago, I started buying equipment, started doing my own gym stuff because I just didn't really enjoy going to the gym with lots of people. I don't really enjoy a lot of interaction with people that I don't really know. You never really know who you're going to meet out there on the street. So I figure if I made my own gym, it'd be much easier. So that's what I did. I made my own gym. And actually, during this whole COVID-19 thing, it
worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds good. So you've been keeping yourself fit and healthy, so that's good because you've got your gym, and you've been keeping yourself busy. I believe you've been fixing fences and doing some painting and all sorts.
I have. I've been doing a lot of yard work. I've been doing a lot of stuff around the house that I've been meaning to do. I finally, hung my jerseys up. I have a lot of autographed jerseys from players that I'm friends with. So I finally got, baseball jerseys and football jerseys hung up. So I'm really stoked about that. And
yeah, of course, big fan of the Browns, of course.
I am indeed a big fan of the Browns.
Got to get that one in there. I'll get that one in there.
So it's been good, yeah. Like I just got done painting clouds for my roommate, Samantha. She's a big fan of stars and clouds, so we did stars and clouds in her room. About to start working on my roommate Crash's room, Crash Jackson. We're getting
excellent.
Some Dragon Ball inspired stuff for him.
Wow. So it sounds like tattoo collections on the wall.
Yeah.
Excellent. So are you a budding artist then, Dave, or?
Oh no, not at all. Like I wish I was, but not really. I'm just really good at slapping paint on walls.
Hey, ain't we all? Well, I think we could all definitely slap a few layers on, I reckon, definitely. Oh. So I tell you what I want to get into, because I've been a big fan of yours, of OVE, of Sami, and basically the OVE faction in general, ever since you turned up on Impact. Now, I have to be honest, because obviously I'm over here in the UK. I didn't know too much about you guys until you turned up on Impact TV. So there was quite a build-up, wasn't there, when you first came in? Because obviously, initially it was just yourself and Jake as OVE coming in as a tag team. There was quite a nice build, and then it all built up to you winning the tag titles with Jake. And then there was an incredible feud with Lax, wasn't it? LAX. Sorry, we call them Lax, but LAF with LAX over here, wasn't there? Can you tell me a little bit about that period? Because there was some incredible stuff at that time.
Well, I would say that working with LAX, working with my brother, bringing in Sami, That was all a very incredible time, especially with Impact. You know, a lot of things was changing with Impact. A lot of things were going down. A lot of new people coming in. A lot of old people going out. So, you know, I think Santana, Ortiz, and my brother and I, we all kind of, you know, had the opportunity to, you know, maybe help change things with Impact, to help turn the corner with Impact. And I think that our feud really did help turn the corner. And maybe it did. I don't know. Maybe I'm giving myself too much credit. Who knows? But I just felt like with everything that we were doing and all the work that we were putting forth with Impact, I think that, you know, we really helped turn that corner. And, you know, guys like Santana, guys like Ortiz, they're just such phenomenal athletes. They're such phenomenal performers. And being able to share the ring with them was, you know, was a great learning experience. It was a great opportunity. It was, you know, everything I could ever want it to be. And I'm just really happy that I got to do some of my most brutalist matches in Impact with them. I trust them with my life, obviously, and I trust them with, you know, with my professional career. So I really love those dudes. I really respect them. I really just enjoy everything that we had together.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, you talk about kind of, you know, trusting them as well. I mean, that's very important, I guess, within in professional wrestling, that you trust your opponent, especially when you're taking part in some of the kind of matches that you guys had. I mean, you had to trust that you weren't going to end up getting injured, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know,
Your career at the end of the day.
There was a lot of stuff about that feud where I was just kind of like, I was a little iffy. Like, you know, there were some promos and things of that nature that I was just kind of like, okay, maybe this is a little bit too much. But, you know, for the most part, I thought I had a really good time with it. I thought it was really, really insane, the things we did. I did not enjoy being called a meth addict by Conan, but, you know, it's I guess that's the perception of Ohio, is we're all full of meth heads, and that's what we do.
To be fair, though, it definitely got a reaction, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely, it absolutely did.
I mean, I think it's somebody interesting. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things going around on social media at the moment, and the interesting thing about it is it's hyped up quite a lot recently, because obviously, you know, you there's not so much. You're not able to do so much because you're taping, and then you're disappearing away. There's not a lot going on, and you guys are all separated. So a lot of the promo stuff that's going on is almost being done by yourselves, you know, at home kind of thing. So you're almost, the social media, I think the social media hype seems to be a lot more like, obviously some of the stuff is going on with Sami and Mike, for instance, at the moment. You know, like, you know, we all know that Mike's in character and Sami's in character, and, you know, they've got a big between each other.
Right. Sami is fat.
I got no room to talk when it comes to that. I can tell you, I got no room to talk when it comes.
As it comes to being an athlete, Mike has him beat, but just the overall mind games and the ability to use weapons and the ability, and Sami is an underrated wrestler. You know, I saw some stuff, like there's some stuff I can't argue with, and there's some stuff, but then again, you know, like, you know, Sami putting Mike's head on an Ninja Turtle body, like, is that really an insult? Like, you're saying he's a Ninja Turtle. That's actually pretty cool.
Exactly. Yeah, I guess it is.
Are you body shaming him, or what are you doing here? You trying to say he looks like a turtle? Is that a body shame?
There's some interesting stuff. I find it fascinating. I read through it all, and I'm like, man, you know, seriously. And there was a bit, I think, that I find this interesting as well. But I'm not minding hearing your take on it. That you know, there was a bit of an issue with Mike and somebody else on social media that was sort of kind of like, you know, calling them out or whatever. And he's like saying, do you not understand that Michael Elgin is different? You know, is a character. You know, Michael Elgin is a character. And when I'm doing this stuff, I am in character. That's what I'm doing. I'm being Michael Elgin, not necessarily, I forgot what's his real name, Aaron or something. I'm not sure what his real name is, but he's like, but I'm this person and Michael is this person. You have to understand the difference between the two. And I think that sometimes people really do kind of mistake the well, how do you put it, the satire, I guess, the character from the person. And I think that happens quite a lot on social media through different different people all the time. What do you think? What's your take on that?
Well, here's my take. This is the way I look at it, and this is diving pretty deep into my personal life. But I'll throw it out there like this. About a week ago, I woke up. I had a bit of a fever. Fever lasted about 3 days. And I look at this and I'm like, okay, well, do I have the COVID-19?
Right.
Am I sick? So, I'm doing the responsible thing of I'm going to quarantine myself for the next 30 days just to make sure, because, I don't know where this goes, because, just because you have a fever this day, and, maybe it was other things. I don't know. Maybe it was just usually around this time of year, I get sick. So, I'm not hanging out with my roommates. I'm separating myself from them. I'm really not paying attention to my phone.
Yeah.
And everyone wants content.
Yes, sure.
Everyone wants content. Everyone wants this and that. And, I'm doing my best to try to live my life as normal as possible. I'm trying to do my best to live life the best that I can. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, of course.
Really not paying much attention to what's going on social media wise. I see things here and there because I'm doing this and that, but I'm posting a lot less. Before I was posting daily on stuff, and I barely post. I'm retweeting. Today's probably the best that I've felt in about a week. Like I said, on and off, just having a fever, not feeling well. I'm feeling very fatigued and very drained.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense at all. So today I'm taking the advantage of the fact that I'm feeling better. The past 6 weeks, like I said, I've been working on my house. And today I'm going to try to get a lift in. I haven't really lifted in a week now. So I'm going to try to get a lift in. So with that being said, I kind of feel like everything else matters a little bit more than what's going on in social media. I feel like everything else matters a little bit more. Like everyone's grasping for content. You have content at your house. You have content.
Of course.
You have content with your loved ones. Because, in the middle of all this, I lost my stepbrother.
Yes.
And, being a part of wrestling, the past, I started wrestling when I was 15 years old. I'll be 38 this year. So diving into wrestling the way I have, training and obviously I had my first pro match when I was 19 years old. So I'm coming up on almost 20 years of wrestling. So that's 20 years that I've lost with loved ones and lost with my friends and things of that nature, because a lot of people don't realize that wrestling is more than just going out there and wrestle. It's, we're in the gym, we're eating properly, we're watching tape. I own my own school, so I'm there 3-4 days a week, helping out the next generation of kids coming up. And wrestling is very much a fixture. So losing my stepbrother kind of put into perspective of hey, during this whole period of this COVID-19, this mysterious sickness that no one really has a grasp on yet. No one really understands the devastation that this could actually cause. And obviously, here in America, I thought I read something the other day. There's like 90,000 people that have died. And by the end of June, it's expected that we're going to have a spike to where 180 million people, or 180,000, I'm sorry, 180,000 people, not million.
Yeah.
I apologize. 180,000 people could be infected and could die from all of it. So I'm really taking this opportunity to reach out to my friends. I'm doing better at it, and I'm not talking about wrestling friends. Like, outside of wrestling, like, I don't really talk to Sami at all. We're really not that close.
Right.
My brother and I aren't that close. Like, we used to be, but not really as much as we used to be. Everyone's just kind of doing their own thing and kind of like doing their stuff with their family and doing things with their friends that are outside of wrestling. And that's really kind of what I've been focusing on, is reconnecting with a lot of my old friends that I haven't really like been super close with, and really trying to do a better job of being a good human being and doing a better job at like learning more about how I could help as a whole. Not just, not just of wrestling, because at the end of the day, wrestling is going to be here after this is all done. Like, after this COVID-19 stuff is done, wrestling is going to be here.
Yeah,
but
of course it is.
The people might not. Some people might not, and maybe it is too little, too late. Maybe like I said, losing my stepbrother was a huge it was a huge blow to me, because I never really thought past wrestling, and now like I'm starting to think past wrestling. I'm starting to think like what's after wrestling, because that's something that I always thought of, is like, like once I'm done wrestling, I retire. Because my thing was, I wanted to be done with wrestling at 40. I wanted to start having kids, and whatever. I said this 4 years ago. I was like, at 40, I'm done. If I make it on TV, cool. If I don't, cool. I have other ventures that I'm working on. Like, I'm working on starting a tattoo shop with my buddy. He already has a very successful tattoo shop. We're going to get a new location. I'm going to help him with that. I got that on the back burner. I got a clothing line that I'm starting up with Blackcraft that will be launching in October, called Ohio
Awesome.
Killers. And it's going to be different serial killers.
Yes.
It's nothing to do with wrestling at all. It's all serial killers, from Jeffrey Dahmer to this is right up your alley, Jack the Ripper.
Jack the Ripper, yeah.
So I have a lot of stuff that I'm stoking the fires with, and I'm thinking outside of wrestling, and I'm really just trying to make sure that I do a better job at connecting with my friends that I kind of lost track of. And that's what kind of sucks about wrestling is you get so focused on your career that everything else kind of takes a back burner. And then when that everything takes a back burner, you don't really have a lot of friends outside of wrestling. And then usually, my brother likes to say that when he's done, he's going to put himself on his little island and act like he doesn't know anybody. And it's kind of the kind of thing. If you think about it, when people get injured or whatever, like when I was injured with my back, no one got a hold of me, and no one talked to me. It was, I took from May to August off, and my brother occasionally got a hold of me to ask me how I was and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I don't expect anyone to get a hold of me. I don't want there to be a constant like, hey, how you doing? Because it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
Still thing.
Frustrating. It's
Still thing.
frustrating, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah. So like
yeah.
I don't feel like, I guess I'm the type of person that doesn't need a lot of people getting a hold of me asking how I am, things of that nature. And like I said, when I when I hurt my back, there was no one, and not a single person reached out that didn't live with me, that didn't see me on a regular basis. No one really reached out. No one cared, what was going on with my day to day life, and that's how I prefer it. And I
Mm.
worked at my friend's tattoo shop. I hung out. I pierced people, and you know, I made more money working at a tattoo shop than I did off wrestling. So
Oh God, blimey! You mentioned you mentioned your wrestling school there. I mean, how's that going at the moment? How you manage? Obviously, I guess that's shut down at the minute.
no, actually, what I've been doing is I've been doing Skype calls, doing things of that nature. The state of Ohio told us, hey, as long as you have people checking at the door with a thermometer, you're allowed to have up to 10 people. So
Oh,
uh,
okay.
what I've been doing is Mondays and Tuesdays and Thursdays, I've been doing 2 classes a day. Well, Thursday I do 1 class a day, but Mondays and Tuesdays, 2 classes. So morning class, afternoon class, and then I'm having a morning class on Thursdays. And then, whenever anybody else wants to have a class, I'm like, okay, cool, we can do this.
Yeah, I suppose you got a bit more time as well.
Yeah. So, the school's been really good. Actually, like, I've had 8 new students since this whole COVID thing happened, which is quite remarkable.
Yeah,
But,
it certainly is. Yeah,
you know,
maybe
uh,
it's because people that are off work got a little bit more time.
yeah, people are trying to find something to do, and who might tell them no?
And hey, you never know. You might find another big name turn up out of that 8 people. You never know, do you?
Hey, you never know.
You never know. All right, so I just want to talk a little bit about obviously OVE as a faction. Now, how did that actually come about? I mean, was this something that Jake, or I mean, I know Sami didn't come in initially, but was he part of the initial sort of kind of faction, um, or was this solely an Impact idea on how to bring you guys in?
It was Sanjay Dutt's idea. Sanjay Dutt's like, hey, Ohio versus everything, and I'm like, because originally they wanted to use the OI4K, which is what we were, but
Yeah,
I own the copyright to that, and I didn't really want to like sell it. I just had a feeling that I had um, I had other ventures I wanted to do with it. Like I had already thought like past wrestling because I own the copyright to it, and it's one of those things where it's like when I first decided to get a copy written, I was like, you know what, like Ohio or Ohio is for Killers is a pretty dope name.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
when my ex girlfriend and I came up with the idea for it, sitting on our couch, and I was like, okay, this is something that could transcend wrestling. So
Could be something else. Yeah.
I really want to like copyright this beforehand. Well, her uncle was a federal copyright attorney
Right.
at Annapolis, so it was like, okay, cool. Like, how much is this going to cost me? And he's like, oh, well, it'll cost you $1,500, blah, 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 blah. I offered up to everyone else. Nobody else really seemed like they were really that into it. So I was like, well, I have 750. I'll give you another 750, when I get it. And he goes, well, you know what? My niece loves you. I'll put up the other 750. I'll use it as a tax write-off, as a small business loan, and then
Nice.
I'll give it to you as a Christmas present. I was like,
Oh,
okay. So then, he copyrighted it for me, and that was probably back in 2009, and then 2010 I started rolling out T-shirts, and then I told my brother about it. I told Sami about it. They got on board, but I started printing up T-shirts in my back room, doing it do-it-yourself style.
Yeah, why not? I mean, if you come up with a great gimmick, you should use it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
Exactly.
it's one of those things where I was very fortunate, but I didn't want to sell it. I didn't want to like really part ways with the name. So then Sanjay's like, "What do you think about this?" And I'm like, "I dig it."
Yeah. It's a cool name. It's cool. Um, and who actually came up with the initial kind of like, repeating the everything and getting louder as you did it kind
Oh,
of
that
thing?
was Sammy. That was Sammy.
He's very good at just sort of like taking something and then just running with it,
Yeah,
into
100%.
something, and then all of a sudden it takes off, doesn't it? I must say he's a very clever guy. Um, I yeah, huge fan
Yeah.
of the whole. To be fair, I'm a huge fan of Sami. I'm a huge fan of the whole OVE thing. I think that it's very unique, and I just believe that you know you have made Impact something for people to go, yeah, that's different, and you can only see that that
Yeah.
type of that type of style, you can only see that on TV on Impact Wrestling, and it's a unique thing and nobody else has got anything like that. So, and that's hard to get these days, in
I
the
totally
wrestling
agree.
industry.
Well,
It's
I
very
think
hard.
I think what makes us so unique is like I said, we're not outside of wrestling. We're all not that close. It's we're very family oriented. Like I take care of my people, they take care of their people. We don't have to hang out all the time to
Yeah,
know that
yeah.
we're family. And that's the type of the type of thing that we have going on is like we know we're family. We take care of each other. We do our stuff with each other. But outside, like we're able to cut that okay, I need some family time, I need to do this, I need to do that. And then like we occasionally go play golf, which Sammy cheats in all the time. My brother and I are superior golfers to him. He's very much a cheater, but that's neither here nor there. We go play
That's his
golf.
character. That's him. That's him.
That's him as a person. Yeah.
That's it.
He's
That's
all
him.
about taking advantage any way he can get it. But sometimes we go to amusement parks. They do it more than I do because with my back injury, I can't ride a lot of roller coasters, so it's not a lot of fun for me. So I'm like, yeah, fuck this, I'm not going. They can go by themselves. But
Fair enough.
for the most part, we do stuff outside. I have a Halloween party. They occasionally come to whenever they're not busy. We do stuff like that. We're constantly finding ways to hang out. But on the same token, if we don't hang out, it's not the end of the world. It's
No,
one of
of
those
course.
things where we know that we need our break. We know that we need our time with our significant others, and that's kind of what we do. Like that's the I think the unique thing about our group is just because we're not constantly attached at the hip doesn't mean we're not close. At the end of the day, if something was to happen, we would be there for each other.
Of course. I mean, that is family, right?
Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
family is. So that I think that's an amazing thing to hear. Now, I mean, that I'm a big Impact fan. You know that. Everybody knows that. I think when we first met, I travelled from England to the New York tapings, and we sort of kind of briefly met. We sort of kind of passed. It was like, hey, how's it going? And then we did the. I think I did a photograph shoot with you as well, with you and the boys,
Yep.
if I remember rightly, which is really cool. Um, Now, I want to talk about, because one of the things that once I start getting into a faction, getting into a team or whatever, I do tend to start looking for other things. And of course, Impact are very good at helping promote other indie promotions and stuff like that as well. And I think they've been great at promoting Pro Wrestling Revolver, for instance. And I mean, we've seen, like when we had the Brian Cage and Sammy stuff going on, Brian was turning up over with you guys and we were getting film stuff on Impact. I mean, what's the situation with that? Because it's Sammy's promotion, is that right? Or is it yours and I'm
Oh
not
no,
quite
that
sure the connection.
well, like Sammy says, this is my promotion. Like that's all him. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I helped I help with some stuff whenever he needs help. I try to help where I can, but that's all Sami's baby. That from start to finish, that's his hard work.
Yeah, and I have to say, some of the stuff that I've seen from Pro Wrestling Revolver have been really good stuff. I mean, he has some great talents. You guys, are up against some really good talents up there. I think recently I saw that I don't know what they're called now, but the Ascension guys, they were up there at Wrestling Revolver, and for the life of me, I can't remember off the top of my head who that was. Was it you guys that were wrestling?
No, I was not there. I
You
don't
were.
remember. Yeah, I was not there.
Oh man, but it was really good to see teams like that turning up at that an indie promotion like that. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure if those guys are from Ohio or by Ohio at all. So I got no idea. But it was good to see that guys like that were still out there getting stuck in and coming along and being a part of indie factions like that.
Yeah.
So do you do a lot of work with Pro Wrestling Revolver then or not?
Like for a long time, I hadn't missed a show. Like actually, Pro Wrestling Revolvers where my back injury kind of progressed.
Right.
That's kind of like where it really was at its highest. Like that was like one of the matches I had there was where it became its worst. We did some stuff in New York after the New York tapings. We did some other stuff with some other people, and I actually fractured my ankle, so I had to cancel.
Right.
I had to cancel because I went for the moonsault and no one really caught me for the moonsault, and my ankles hit the guardrail, and I was pretty much done after that. I was hurting. But,
yeah.
I had a hairline fracture in my ankle, so I had to take 8 weeks off for that. The only thing I did was tapings. That's the only thing I did was tapings. So I heavily taped my ankle up then, and it's kind of one of those things where I feel like 2018 or 2017 and 2019, I felt like it was just one thing after another as far as injuries go.
It's interesting. I've got a really cool photograph of you actually. I trying to remember the match in New York, but I got a really good photo. I managed to get a close up of it. You ended up upside down, hanging off the top turnbuckle. I remember posting it and asking you what was going on here, Dave, and you replied. But it was a really really cool photo. I might repost it for you to check out. But it was a good photo.
Please do.
Yeah, it was a really good photo. But you were sort of kind of like you were hanging there, and you were like, oh, and it was
I took a power bomb, right?
I think it was onto the turnbuckle, possibly.
No, I was upside down and someone got power bombed into me.
That's right. But you were hanging off the you were hanging off the ropes, and you were just like, oh my god. There was quite a lot of moments, I think, of that taping where there was a lot of oh my god stuff going on. It was it was at times it was a bit brutal, but that again. I think that is the difference between what we're seeing on Impact Wrestling now and say what we saw on Impact Wrestling maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and what we see in other promotions. I think that for me, I've been to WWE events, I've been to, local promotion events in the UK, Impact Wrestling shows, prior to more recently, and I'd never seen anything like what all you guys were putting on, and it was brutal. I mean, the Michael Elgin and Eddie Edwards stuff was just incredible. Like, you actually believe that those guys are getting absolutely destroyed. And I'm not for 1 minute saying that none of this stuff hurts, because it clearly does. And if stuff goes wrong, you clearly get injured and you get hurt. But people outside of they don't really not really into it, they don't really understand wrestling, etc. When they say, oh, it's all fake and all this kind of stuff, I'm like, mate, seriously, you need to go to a wrestling show, you need to go and watch Impact. Believe you me, yes, it may be predetermined, it may be storyline based, but what those guys are doing is not fake, and anyone that says that needs to shut the fuck up in my book. So you know, it's just one of those things. But no, I mean, you know, sorry to hear. Obviously, the injury sort of kind of got worsened by pro wrestling. You know, taking part in something like Pro Wrestling Revolver. If I'd have realised that, I might not have brought it up so much because that's a sore
It's all good.
subject.
It's wrestling. It's what happens. Like, it's like being a chef. Occasionally, you're gonna have a few broken eggs, and that's the way I kind of look at it. Is you
Yeah,
know,
cut the chopped fingers.
yeah, shit happens, and you move on, and you live, you love, and then you get better.
Exactly, exactly. Now, one match I want to talk to you about that over the past 3 years, it's really stuck in my mind, and I've watched it probably 3 or 4 times, maybe even more actually, was the Barbed Wire Massacre match that you had with LAX. Now, what in God's holy hell was going through your guys' heads, agreeing to basically, yeah, take that match on, and what sort of memories do you have to share with us from that?
Compared to other matches I've had at CZW, that was easy.
Really?
Oh yeah. I believe it was a Tangled Web where there's like a clip where I'm on a scaffold. My brother tombstones. I think it was Danny Havoc. It might have been It might have been someone else, but I'm on top of a scaffold. My brother jumps up, gives a tombstone to Danny Havoc through a plate glass window, and I double stomp him at the same time. So that match was easy compared to other matches I've had.
What makes you think of these things? I don't know. You're crazy.
It's just one of those things where you start getting creative, everything starts flowing. The next thing you know, you're like, hey, what if you did this to me? And I'm like, yeah, I could do that. But if I do that to you, you have to do this to me. Okay, fair. Because that's what's weird about wrestling is like, for me, I can never really think of what I want to do to somebody else, but I can think of everything I want to take. I'm like, listen, do this to me, it's going to be sick.
I can imagine. Actually, I can imagine you sat there doing that. It's like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to do that. And it was like, are you sure? Are you
Yeah,
sure?
because like to me, I think it's very arrogant, very rude to be like, "Hey, listen, hear me out. I want to do this to you. This is gonna put your body at risk. Don't worry about it though. Just
Yeah,
do it."
yeah,
But
yeah,
to think to be like, "Okay, listen, this is gonna sound insane, but can you do this to me?" I think as a level of trust. I think when you ask somebody to do that, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, he trusts me enough that he asked me to do this to him, so we can do this. I fucks with it.
yeah, definitely. And then before you know it, they were asking you to do something to them, right?
Yeah, and it's tit for tat. And like with the whole skewer things, like I had taken skewers before, so when we were asked if we would do that, I'm like, yeah, easy, I can do that, no problem, no
Yeah,
problem, easy.
yeah. Have you got a very high pain threshold?
Well, I have tons of tattoos, don't I?
Yeah, I'm covered in tattoos, but I'm not sure I could take some stuff being stuck in my head. I'm not.
My,
I'm not
my,
sure.
my thing is like, for example, with tattoos, I fall asleep. Like when people are like, "Oh yeah, your hands hurt, your feet hurt," I'm like, "Okay, cool." I got the most painful tattoos right off the rip.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I got my ribs done at 120 pounds, so that was the most painful tattoo. And past there, I was just like, "Okay, cool." Plus, I used to skate. Like I was a sponsored inline skater um, from the age of like 12 all the way to 19. So dealing with pain, managing pain, things of that nature is something that I learned to deal with early on
Yeah,
in my
yeah.
life. So managing pain in wrestling has, I'm not gonna say it's been easy, but it's been one of those things where it's like, it comes with the territory of what we do.
Have you found that as you get older, though, that it's harder to deal with, or
Oh,
do you still
absolutely.
take it in your stride? Yeah,
Well, as I get older, it's recovery. The actual act and the actual pain of it is not that bad, but the recovery is worse. I think it's much worse. Does it look like I'm glistening, aren't I? Like I'm sweating real bad.
Oh yeah. Is it hot
Yeah,
there?
I like it's nice and cool here. It's not. I think my fever's starting to like spike a
Kick
little
in.
bit.
Okay. Well, let me just social distance a little bit. As
Yeah, you can keep
no, we're
social
good. You're
distancing
good.
out there. We're good to go.
I think 3,500 miles is probably plenty. I don't think we've got anything to worry about.
I think
Could
so.
probably do a
We'll
high
be good.
five. Probably do a high. I don't know.
There
Maybe
we
not.
go.
You're not.
Yeah,
Yeah. We can do a
yeah.
high five.
We
Yeah,
good. We good.
we're good with that. It's good. So, okay, carrying on. Let's move on a little bit. So, I would love to see OVE do a second run at the tag belts. Now, of course, you know, you get your run, then obviously winning them, then obviously going on, some sort of, run with the tag belts. Do you think that is possible?
Anything's possible in wrestling. Anything. I think my brother having his run with the X Division Championship was a good thing. That was very fun.
He's
I would
a good
love to
wrestler.
see Fulton doing some stuff in the heavyweight. I think that he's very underrated. I think that he's a very good big man. Um, Obviously, as you've seen, Sami has social distanced himself from us, so he's
Yeah.
no longer a part of the fold. So he's doing his own thing. Who knows? Maybe he'll be back. Maybe it won't. I love how everyone keeps asking who the new leader is going to be. Like, was there really ever a leader to begin with? Was Sami really the leader? Or was he just a mouthpiece? Because last time I checked, I always did my own thing. Last time I checked, go back and watch the promos. I say what I want. I do what I want. Like there was no leader there. You know what I mean?
No.
Like
No.
it was just he wanted to talk. We let him talk. We had something to say. We said our piece. So it was kind of one of those things where I don't really necessarily think there's a clear cut leader. To say that Sami was the leader would mean that we were blindly following him when you can clearly tell in any promo we did, any matches we did, we are clearly thinking for ourselves. We had
Yeah.
a tactical plan. What was he like one of the people that really helped lay out the tactical plan of what our assault was going to be? Yes, absolutely. But on the
Hmm.
other hand, it's one of those situations where it's like all four of us are our own man. All four of us are in charge of ourselves,
Yep.
and we did things for the betterment of the group, never individually. So it was one of those situations where I don't necessarily think there was ever a clear cut defining leader of OVE. I think that's a misconception. I think that's something that Impact likes to say, like Sami's the leader, Sami's the leader. Well, no, Sami's the mouthpiece.
Yeah.
But like all good, everyone says that we're a cult. Like all good cults, there's the mouthpiece, puppet that will end up taking the bullet in the end, and then there's the real leader behind them.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. It's almost like a figurehead, I
Yeah,
guess, rather than
no,
necessarily a
essentially
leader.
Bill Gates.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, okay, so the roster at Impact is getting, well, it was, and it's even more stacked as of late. I mean, we've seen, like you say, we've seen some great talents coming into the promotion in recent months as well. Is there anybody on the Impact roster that you feel um, either you on your own, or maybe OVE, you and Jake, or as a tag team, or that you feel could have that you haven't obviously wrestled or competed with it to this time, who you think you guys could have a really good program with, or even just a really good match?
I would really like to wrestle cousin Jake. I think that would be a lot of fun. Rohit would also be a lot of fun. I love those two dudes. Those two dudes are awesome. I love doing stuff with Follow. I would love to do more stuff with him. Um, Outside of that, I would really like to try to do some stuff with my brother. Like having some matches with my brother would be fun. Uh, Doing some more stuff with Joey Ryan would also be fun, or Joseph now.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Do you know what the P stands for?
What does the P stand for?
That's what
P.
I'm saying. Do you? Is
It's
it
probably PP.
penis?
It's probably
Prick?
PP.
You reckon it's PP?
It's Joseph PP.
You reckon?
I mean,
Joseph
what else?
PP. Yeah, if you said PP to someone over there, you were basically telling them that they wet themselves.
Sounds about right.
So he pees his pants a lot.
I doubt it. It's probably penis now. Now that you say that, it's probably penis.
I reckon it's penis, definitely. I know that the commentary team do have a lot of fun with trying to figure out what the P stands for, so I thought I'd join in on that one. Okay, so it's cool. I mean, it's interesting you should mention Rohit, and also cousin Jake or Jake something or whichever. Jake is a stud. I think that he's got star written all over him,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I just
Not only
hope
is he
that.
handsome, but he's also a hoss.
Oh man, the dude is jacked. He's massive. Funny. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago when I did an interview with Rohit, he mentioned Jake. I mean, I know those guys are good friends anyway, but so he was probably just trying to get him over. But no, I don't think he was. I think he was genuine in what he was saying. That if Impact don't let him run with the ball at some point, then they'll be making a massive mistake.
I
And
agree.
I think anyone could have a good program with Jake, definitely, but they just got to let him go, And I think, sometimes they wait and then they suddenly. I mean, Rohit in recent weeks has been let go with the mic a little bit, and I think we've seen what he can start to do. There's obviously still loads more in him. But yeah, those two great talents, and Fowler's is also one of my favourites. So it's good to hear you mention Fowler as well.
Dude. I love Fala so much. He's just such a good dude.
He just comes across as a real nice guy, and I think I mean, the partnership with him and TJP at the moment as a tag team, I think works really well too. And I was secretly hoping you were going to mention possibly a tag program with you guys and them would be awesome.
My brother and I versus the two of them would be amazing. I really want to work TJP. Like, he's just so good and so clean. Like, he's probably the best wrestler at Impact, hands down.
Yeah. He's so, I like what you said there. He's clean. He's very clinical in everything that he does. And it's interesting because in a match with TJP, there was a match in Mexico. I think it was against a Mexican guy called Vikingo. It was TJP versus Vikingo. My God, it was so fast. There was no margin for error in anything that was going to go in on that match, and yet it was pristine from start to finish. It was a pristine match, and everyone in attendance loved it. It was raved about for weeks via social media and stuff like that. It was, I think anyone who was a true fan of wrestling could not have looked at that match and not gone, Jesus Christ, that was one hell of a match. And I think also Vikingo had a great match with Josh Alexander as well, which was, that was really, really good.
And we actually had a 6-man tag with him and a couple other dudes probably about a year ago now. That was also really, really good. Like, Vikingo is so good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the situation is with him. I mean, I know that he's turned up in a few North American promotions prior to obviously everything that was going on here. But my God, I mean, if Impact was able to sign someone like that, Jesus Christ, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. Now, one thing I want to say as well. No, recently we've seen OVE in a bit of a losing streak. So with Sami supposedly turning his back on you guys, especially at Rebellion Part 1, where he attacked all three of you guys with the baseball bat, and all of that just for trying to help him out. I mean, what was that about? I mean, can you tell us anything about this situation, or where we're going to go on from this?
I have no idea. Obviously, Sami didn't ask for our help, but he's never asked for our help before.
And he's never liked it, has he?
And any time that we did let him do his own thing and he lost, how many times did he get mad at us?
Yeah.
So it's like,
That's true.
okay, so if you, I don't know. I guess the best way to answer that question is we'll see what happens, to be continued. Whether we fight or we don't fight, he does his thing, we do our thing, and then eventually we come back. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? Now, one other thing I was going to say to you was in terms of storytelling. Now, obviously, after Sami lost his world title to Tessa, everything seemed to go a little bit, obviously, pear-shaped for him. Now, he disappeared for a little while and then obviously came back with the ICU gimmick. Did any of you guys know what was going on, or
No,
was it just, as far as you were concerned, he was just gone?
he just left. He that's really when the division happened. That's like Sami stopped talking to us. He stopped calling us because before then, we talked quite often. We talked frequently, but then after that, it's almost as if like the jealousy of somebody else having the title got to him.
Yeah, yeah,
If you know anything about Sami, he's very much like me, me, me. Like he wants to be the forefront of everything.
yeah,
So once Tessa started to get I think Tessa, in all honesty, I think she has been getting more press as being the world champion than
yeah,
what Sami got. I think that she has had more notoriety for it,
yeah,
and she's done
yeah,
more
yeah.
with and for the title than Sami did for the title, and I think that really got to him. I think that he was going to take if he, him losing. I think that he mentally needed a break, but then seeing all the press and seeing all the people showering her with praise and adulation, I think
Yeah.
that really got to Sami. I think that got under his skin. I think
Yeah,
because he didn't get the same type of reception as she got. I think that he got a little jealous. I think that he got a little inside his own head over, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe whatever. And then, then he started doing the ICU thing, which, I just found out that's a video game. Like that, the whole character thing, it's a video game. So
yeah.
crazy for me. Like, I didn't know that. So I did a podcast and they informed me, they're like, oh yeah, it's this video game. It's down to the close, and I'm like, oh, I thought this was the original thing. This was
bottom line, bottom line is inspiration has to come from somewhere, right?
no, 100%. I'm not degrading that. I'm just saying before you told me that it came from a video game, I was just talking about how creative it was and how no one else has really ever done this, and I was putting this over, and then the guy was like, so I gotta tell you something, and I'm like, oh, now I feel dumb.
Don't
So
be silly. We all play video games, right?
just in case we are going down that same road, you and I, talking about that, and then I was about to put over how creative he was and how amazing this whole thing was. I just got stooched out on it the other day, so.
Yeah. To be honest with you, that I wouldn't do that to you.
Well,
Yeah,
as
but
soon as he popped up that statement, I was like, oh yeah, it's the most creative thing I've ever seen. Like I love everything that he's doing. Like it's just such an original idea and so creative. And then he's just like, not to bust your balls, bud, but, and I'm like, oh.
these things happen. There's that we don't all know how to. We're not all into video games.
Ambush journalism is what it is. Ambush journalism.
Yes, it must have been. He must have known. He knew straight away. He's like, yeah,
He knew it.
yeah, I'm gonna get him with this one. I'm gonna get him with this one. Is that what he was? He was an Australian guy.
He was.
They know everything. They know everything. Australians, honest to God, they know everything. I mean, let's face it. What else have they got to worry about? I mean, God, have you seen the size of the place? They don't see anyone for at least, social distancing. That's a serious. That there's no such thing over there.
They invented it.
Exactly. They invented it. But there you go. Okay, so at the end of the day, we're not too sure where we're going to go with this then. So we're going to just look forward to seeing how all of this pans out on Impact Television, which is going to be good. But I hope to start seeing. I mean, a lot of the OVE fans out there are getting a bit heartbroken with all these losses at the moment. So we're hoping to see something turn around fairly soon.
Well,
So hoping that happens.
I'm just throwing this out there to you. Go back and look at the track record. Go back and
Go.
look at our win-loss record. It's never been about wins. It's always been about hurting the opponents. It's always been about making sure that whether they win or lose, if they win, they're still feeling us for months later. We're here. We're all about the long game. We're worried about the one match. We're worried about the one match that means more than anything else. You know, whether it's Sami getting the title, or us getting the tag titles, or my brother getting the X Division Championship. Because if you remember correctly, I kind of helped with that.
You certainly did. Yes. Yeah, you did.
It's all about the long game. It's never about, you know, the matches here and now. It's about the long game. If you're looking at OVE and you're saying, oh, well, they're on a losing streak, we're always on a losing streak. We're always on a losing streak. But like Sami has said on multiple occasions, on multiple different promos, it's never about the losing streak. It's about the light at the end of the tunnel. Everyone focuses on what's going on now, the losses that's going on now. Well, how do you know we don't have our eyes set on other things?
Yeah.
How do you know we don't have our eyes set on the big picture? Losing to Dreamer, Crazy Steve, and Rhino, what does that really matter?
I suppose it doesn't.
But what if it's the bigger picture? What if it's the bigger game?
What will it lead to?
Because you never know. We're always thinking ahead. We're never thinking back. We're always thinking forward. We're never paying attention to the past. A loss is a loss. A win is a win, but it's in the past. We're never paying attention to the distant past. To the present and to the future is where we're always looking.
Definitely. I like the sound of that, definitely. Now, you mentioned Crazy Steve there and the loss to Crazy Steve. So what are your thoughts on Crazy Steve coming to Impact?
Well, for years I really wanted to wrestle him because I wanted to see if he was as crazy as I thought he was. I wanted to see if his crazy matched my crazy, because let's be real. Out of OVE, I'm the craziest.
Yeah, I would say so.
I'm the craziest. I'm the loose cannon. I'm the one that may not be all there. Think about that. Go back and do the research, do the footage watching. I'm the one that's the loose cannon. I'm the one that no one knows what's going to happen. I'm the unpredictable one. And Crazy Steve, for years, was the most unpredictable wrestler in Impact Wrestling or TNA, depending upon how far back you go. So if he was the most unpredictable, that's where I wanted to be. I had my eyes set on being the most unpredictable man in Impact Wrestling. Well,
Fair enough.
Now he's back. The most unpredictable man in Impact history is now back. So that gives me an ample opportunity.
It certainly does.
To prove that maybe I just might be a little bit more crazy than him. I might be Crazy Dave with 2 Z's.
Who knows? Who knows? Yeah. That's interesting. Very interesting. I like the sound of that. And of course, with tomorrow's Impact coming up, are you not wrestling him, I believe, tomorrow?
Oh, I believe I fight him, yes.
Yes, I believe you do. Oh, yeah, you're fighting him tomorrow. Obviously,
I'll tell you straight up, I'm going to give you a little heads up. From bell to bell, I'm going to try to fist fight him. I'm not going to try to wrestle him. I already know what Crazy Steve's all about. I've already done the footage watching. I've already studied him, because that's what we always do. Most people don't realize this. Most people think that we're just blindly attacking. Oh, no. We study. We're watching tape. We're paying attention to what our opponents do. Crazy Steve, unpredictable. So I have to be a step above him and be a little bit more unpredictable. So I'm going to kick him in the face right off the rip. I'm going to punch him in the mouth right off the rip. If I kick you in the face, if I punch you in the mouth, you're automatically at a disadvantage, and that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm looking forward to the match even more now. It's going to be on tomorrow night. So, although when this interview goes out, it would have been probably a couple of weeks ago, but I'm really, really looking forward to watching that tomorrow. Now, a few weeks back, I did an interview with Rohit Raju, as we've already discussed, and one thing that I always rate about Rohit is his promo work. So I wanted to get him to give a promo on the Bison, and he did an amazing job. I was really, really impressed with it. It was fantastic. So I'm trying to come up with something a little bit different, something a little bit unique, or something that more related to you guys that you might not necessarily have done on other interviews with interviewers or whatever, just to create that unique selling point. So I wondered if you would join in or set up a Ohio versus everything thumbs up thumbs down promo with the Bison, and then to the camera, mean faces.
So where are you from?
Where am I from?
Yep.
I'm from the UK. I'm from Essex. Essex in the UK. Essex. Essex. Yeah.
Okay. Bison. How's it feel, my friend? You are the newest member of OVE. But I want you to realize something. I want you to keep this in consideration. It's for Ohio, by Ohio. And we're taking over everything. Thumbs up.
Yeah. That was great. The best bit is doing it and then just basically smiling afterwards. I think that's the best bit because you completely change its characteristics. It's amazing. Yep. That was really, really cool. And as a big OVE fan, that was a highlight of probably my year. So doing that with you, that was great. Okay. That was great. Now, finally, do you have a message for everyone who's currently in lockdown? Anything you want to say, just to sort of kind of put out there for the fans?
So I'll put out there to you guys like this. Be safe out there. Take this opportunity to, hang out with your friends, hang out with your family, do some yard work, play with your dogs, play with your cats, play with your kids. Take this opportunity to do all the things that you said, I wish I had time to do this, or I wish I had the time to do that. How many years now have we all been saying to ourselves, I wish I had more time? I wish that the time would come where I could finally get to spend time throwing football with my son or throwing softball with my daughter. How many times have we said that? How many times have we wished that we had more time? Now we have all the time in the world. Now we literally have more time than we know what to do with. So use this wisely. That's something I've been doing. That's something I've been trying to do, is use this time wisely. I don't leave my house. If you want to come over and hang out, you come over and hang out. But take the time to call, take the time to FaceTime, take the time to pay attention to your kids, take the time to pay attention to your wife. Because like I said, how many times have we wished we had more time? Now that's all we have is time.
Yeah, totally.
So take the time to make the time that you have now.
Fantastic. That's really good. And I couldn't agree more with that, Dave. Couldn't agree more. And that's fantastic. Right. I think that's all we have time for today. Do you want to let us know where we can find you on social media at all, Dave?
Well, you can find me on the Instagram at Dave Crist Jr. or David Crist Jr. You can find me at the Dave Crist on the Twitter machine. Dave Crist on Facebook. You can also find me on Twitch, the Dave Crist. Other than that, that's about it.
Okay, cool.
If you play video games, Crist OVE on the PlayStation, we can Call of Duty it up. I've been playing Assassin's Creed lately, but I'll stop doing that to shoot you up. That's no problem. I'll whip your ass in some Call of Duty. That's fine.
Sounds good. Sounds good. There's an offer for everybody. Come on, guys. Take on Dave Crist. I'm sure you'll have some fun with that.
Oh, you want to do Madden? We can do Madden too.
Madden.
You
Definitely.
name it, we can do
Call
it.
of Duty, Madden. He's up for it. He's up for it. All of it. Let's make sure that you make him regret those words, guys. Make him regret those words. Hook him up. Kick his ass. Kick his ass. I gotta say. But anyway, so thank you ever so much for joining us today, Dave. It's been a real pleasure talking to you today. This is I think it'd be like the third or fourth edition of Bison Talks Impact, so it's really nice to have you on. So that's all we got time for today, and I really hope that you guys have enjoyed our discussion with Dave. If you want to know more about or want to find the Bison, I'm very active on Twitter at Lord Bison 45, and don't forget to follow the Total Nonstop Impact Network at We Talk Impact, which is available on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Take care, everybody, and until next time, I am the Bison. This has been Dave Crist on Bison Talks Impact.